Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly held at the twilight's last gleaming?
It was nice that we could have the commanding general, Brigadier General Beagle, here from Fort Jackson.
We have a facility at Fort Jackson that's named after Corporal Freddie Stowers, and to come here and assist and play a role in the rededication was absolutely a pleasure to do and an honor for me as a soldier to do that today.
A lot of times it's very difficult to get an active duty general to come to events like this, but he did a great job, was more than happy to be here, had a wonderful presentation, and his thoughts and ideas about Corporal Stowers and what he did for his country.
First, wanted to thank Mrs. Stowers Jackson for this invitation. It means a lot to me, and somebody said as I walked in, General, I know you're very busy, and what I tell people is a lack of time is a lack of priorities. I have 13,000 soldiers at Fort Jackson right now that are a priority for me every single day. My priority right now is being right here with you.
But I want to tell you about the beginning of the Stowers legacy. We were notified by someone in Pendleton, South Carolina, where my Aunt Josephine, they were looking for someone of the Stowers family, and she sent them to me and Mr. Jimmy Smith, and he started it all up for us and all, and we was invited to the White House to receive the Medal of Honor. So an invitation was sent to my mother's sister, Mary Bourne, who was Freddie's sister in Greenville, South Carolina. President Bush was the president at the time.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
The lives that we lead and the choices that we make are driven by the values that we hold dear. It is my prayer today that the lives that we are living through the values that we hold dear are worthy of the sacrifice that Corporal Stowers made, as well as the heartache and loss that his families and friends endured and continue to endure.
You know, it's a beautiful day today, but it wasn't a beautiful day back in September 28th, 1918, when Freddie Stowers breathed his last breath. Actually, it had rained many, many days going into that battle. But Freddie was drafted in the Army in 1917. He was just 21 years old, so he was 22 years old when he died. We're talking about a young man here that has not lived a full life. We are talking about a man that was brought up in Sandy Springs, had great family values, knew what he was all about, and knew what he needed to do.
And we did bring a few artifacts today, courtesy of Mr. Rod Gregg, who I think you'll be introduced to very soon. He went to France at the Hill, the location, with a metal detector, and returned with these prizes. There's some bullet casings in here, some shrapnel shards, and bullets themselves, and even one little strap buckle, it looks like.
What measure of man was Freddie Stowers to do that? Who is willing to expend such courage and sacrifice for what is right? The answer, a hero. And Freddie Stowers was a hero.
We can read and we can talk about the heroic acts of Corporal Stowers, an act that he performed in 1918 that brought him to an untimely death. But it spared the lives of 133 of his fellow soldiers. I can express great pride in the 10-building complex that we have at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, named after Corporal Freddie Stowers. I can also talk about the elementary school at Fort Benning, Georgia, named after Corporal Freddie Stowers. We can also rejoice in the fact that we get a chance to redo this dedication and simultaneously acknowledge the 100 years that have passed since Corporal Stowers made the ultimate sacrifice for this country.
And the home of the